Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the office of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests are committed to our charge. Amen.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Honourable members, starting on number 225, subsection 2, paragraph B, requires the Speaker to report to the House any petition other than those presented through a member. I therefore wish to convey to the House that my office has received a petition submitted by one Mr. Peter Kairanga of P.O. Box 7183 Nakuru, calling for the settlement of over 25,000 shareholders of Guatanero Mutukanyo Company in what the petitioner asserts is their rightfully owned parcels of land in Nakuru and Laikipia. Honourable members, the petitioner avers that Mutukanyo Guatanero Company raised money from its shareholders with the objective of investing the funds in buying land for them to settle in. The company, according to the petitioner, owns a total of 82,000 acres in Nakuru and Laikipia, as well as the Amigos House, Oyster Shell Building, and 3 plots in Nakuru town, farmhouses in Bahati, various buildings in Laikipia and Rumuruti, among other properties. Honourable members, balloting of land is said to have been undertaken in 1983 in a bid to ensure that each shareholder got a piece of the company's land, but the initiative was extremely flawed, and as a result, over 25,000 shareholders did not obtain any land. Further, in areas such as Mayan Ngarua, balloting was done on non-surveyed land, and several company properties, including Amigos House, Oyster Shell, and other properties were grabbed or illegally sold without the consent of the shareholders, under the direction of the company directors and the then provincial administration. Honourable members, it is on account of these misgivings that the petitioner seeks the intervention of this House, primarily in spearheading investigations into the affairs of Mutukanyo Guatanero Company with a view to attaining recovery of the irregularly allocated plots of land and other lost properties and restoring them to their rightful owners, and for the conduct of a fresh survey on the Mutukanyo-Guatanero land. Pursuant to the provision standing order number 227, this petition therefore stands committed to the Departmental Committee on Lands. The committee is requested to consider the petition and report its findings to the House and the petitioner in accordance with standing order 227, subsection 2. Thank you. Petition by member for Madare.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to read petition number 007 of 2020 regarding the imminent eviction of residents of hospital ward in Madare constituency by the Kenya Police. I, the undersigned, on behalf of concerned residents of hospital ward in Madare constituency, draw the attention of the House to the following. One, that the hospital ward in Madare constituency is home to over 30,000 residents who have lived on that land for over 20 years and have constructed both temporary and permanent residences on the land. That the said land has several public utilities such as schools, hospitals, children homes for the vulnerable and homeless children, a playground for children, among other essential facilities. That recently, the Kenya Police Depot situated in Hospital Ward claimed to have been issued with an allotment letter to occupy the parcel of land where the depot is situated, as well as the entire land in the ward that is currently occupied by residents of the ward, particularly Kosovo and Madare 4B areas. That residents of Hospital Ward, particularly those of Kosovo and Madare 4B areas, are living in fear of imminent eviction by the Kenya Police Depot, who are alleging to have been issued with title deeds for the parcel of the land in Hospital Ward. That it is an indisputable fact that Kosovo and Madare 4B areas have been in existence as settlement areas in Madare constituency since 1967 and 1995 respectively. That police have since prevented youths and children from accessing and using the only available community playground in Hospital Ward on account of the alleged ownership of the playground. That if the imminent occupation of Hospital Ward by the Kenya Police is not mitigated, residents will be rendered homeless, cutting off from accessing critical social amenities like schools, hospitals, children's homes, and playgrounds. That efforts to resolve the matter between the constituency, community, and political leadership of Madare constituency on the one hand and the Kenya Police on the other hand have failed to yield satisfactory response. That the matters in respect for which this petition is made is not pending before any court of law or constitutional legal body. Therefore, you pray that the National Assembly, through the Departmental Committee of Lands 1, inquires into the matters raised in this petition relating to the alleged ownership of the land in Hospital Ward, Madare constituency, with a view to ensuring that rights of residents to the land are not subverted by the Kenya Police. 2, intervenes to the relevant government ministries to halt any potential eviction of residents of Hospital Ward from their land by the Kenya Police until the dispute is investigated by the relevant authorities and resolved. 3, intervenes to the Ministry of Lands and National Lands Commission to ensure that the land in Hospital Ward in Madare constituency is adjudicated and verified residents issued with deeds, title deeds, and appropriate sections of the land designated for public amenities safeguarded. And your petitioner will ever pray. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. I think Dr. Rachel Nyamai, you have so much on your hands, but I believe you're up to the task. The petition is also referred to that committee. Do I see an intervention from the Honorable Wamunyinyi?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, the petition by the Honorable Oluoch, Mr. Speaker, you will recall we continuously have experienced this kind of dispute. And they have sometimes grown into conflict that destabilizes peace in the area, Mr. Speaker. So as you direct that this committee deals with this matter of this petition, there are other petitions related to land which involved the military, some security agencies, Mr. Speaker. They should be expedited, and we need to get the final result, the outcome of what the committee would have established, Mr. Speaker. So I wish to support the petitioner and appeal that these matters should be addressed and finalized in a manner that is satisfactory, that is acceptable to all the parties, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Very well. What is the intervention by the Honorable Omalwa?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry. Fine, thank you.
It was an inadvertent. Very well. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader of the majority.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, March 12, 2020. The annual reports and audited financial statements of the Speaker, I've never done this. Annual report and unaudited financial statements of the independent. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to withdraw that. I mean, the House cannot.
The House cannot consider an audited.
No House cannot. I cannot table an audited account. So I think I'll take the table office and the clerk's office must relook at that.
Yeah.
So let me go to the second one, which is the list of nominees to 20 constituencies, committees from the National Government Constituency Development Fund, board as follows. Anita Pomochoge, Borabu, Endabes, Kiamba, Kitui West, Kuria West, Laikipia North, Laisamis, Lugari, Makueni, Mosop, Naivasha, Nambale, Naragwa, Saboti, South Imenti, Teso South, Tharaka, Tigania West, Tongaren, and Wajir West.
I hope that the members concerned, the members from who represent those constituencies from whom the names have come, will check, even as I refer the paper to the National Government Constituency Development Fund Committee to look into. It's good for the members concerned to check the names and other details. As we found out, there are sometimes details like whether a person is a female or male, and if male, whether it's male man or male woman, persons living with disabilities, check whether the ones who are shown to be youth, whether they are indeed the right people that have come from your constituencies. Yes, Leader Majority.
Mr. Speaker, I think the error was on our side. This is the annual report of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for the financial year 2018-2019. It's annual report.
Yeah, the annual report.
Yes, so I think our table office added unaudited, which is not the case.
Maybe that's why they use the word unaudited. Well, that report is referred to the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, and it's important that also other members be encouraged to also get copies of the report by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, so that when the Honorable Cheptumo tables his report, on that report, you debate it from a position of knowledge and information. Next is the Chairman, Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock, Honorable Anden.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, March 12, 2020, report of the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock on its consideration of the Crops Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 25 of 2019. Thank you.
Next, the Chairman, Departmental Committee on Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library. Honorable Nyamoko.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, March 12, 2020, a report of the Committee on Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library Services on its consideration of the Public Participation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 69 of 2019.
Well, the next one is by the Chairman, Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, Honorable Cheptumo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, March 12, 2020. Reports of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on its considerations of 1. The Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Bill number 19 of 2019, by the Honorable Florence Mutua MP. 2, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 40 of 2019, by the Honorable George Kariuki MP. And thirdly, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 53 of 2019, by the Honorable Boshole MP. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Next order.
Order number 5, notices of. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honourable members, the first question, being question number 052, is by the member for Gilgil constituency, who has written to seek that the question be deferred as she is attending to constituency matters. I have acceded to the request, and therefore the question is deferred. Move to the next question by the member for Keio South, the Honorable Daniel Rono.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask question number 053 of 2020, which is directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Physical Planning. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide the status of the progress of processing of title deeds for the residents of Rokocho, Changach Parak, Moscot area in Soy North Ward, Keio South Constituency, Elgeyo Marakwet County? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Question will be responded to before the Departmental Committee on Lands. The next question is by the member for Mwatate, the Honorable Mwandime.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 54 of 2020 to the Cabinet Secretary for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. Subsection 1.
You are inaudible.
Could the Cabinet Secretary provide the status of desiltation of Mwatate Dam in Mwatate constituency, considering that it was budgeted for during the financial year 2018-2019? Subsection 2. What is the status of the construction of Mzima Springs Phase 2 water projects in Mwatate constituency, and when will it be completed? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question will be responded to before the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. The last question is by the member for Kisauni, the Honorable Bogo Menza.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to ask question number 55 of 2020, directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Environment and Natural Resources. My first question is, could the Cabinet Secretary explain the measures put in place at the national level to protect the environment from pollution arising from discharge of untreated waste along the roads and open areas in Loma, Bombo, Majimachafu villages, Green Estate, Kiembeni Police Station, and Jomo Kenyatta Public Beach in Kisauni constituency? My second question is, what action is the ministry taking to ensure the environment is protected from such pollution, and more specifically to curb continued pollution in the said areas? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well, the question will be responded to before the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources. Next segment of that order will go to statements. And there is a statement sought by the Honorable Joshua Kutunyi, member for Cherangani. The Honorable Joshua Kutunyi, I think, is more active elsewhere than here. Next is by the Honorable Ibrahim Abdimude, member for Lafi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44.2c, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation regarding persistent interruption of mobile telephony connectivity services in Mandera County. Honorable Speaker, communication is fundamental to the existence and survival of human as well as to any organization. Recently, the residents of Mandera County have been experiencing interruption of mobile telephony connectivity services from service providers from time to time. The service providers have been switching off customers' network services for hours in parts of Mandera County without issuing prior explanation of, or notices, thereby breaching its contractual obligations to its customers. Honorable Speaker, the effects of the disconnection of services are far-reaching, especially to the business community, as most transactions are executed through the available platforms, particularly mobile phone-based money transfers, financing and microfinancing services. In addition, the lack of consistent communication services has led to the residents living in fear, thus hindering them from undertaking their daily activities. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Communication, Information and Innovation on the following. Could the Chairperson explain why the service providers have been interrupting and disconnecting the customers' mobile telephony services for hours in Mandera County, particularly in Mandera Town, without prior notices? What steps has the government taken to ensure that the services providers do not breach contractual obligations with their customers? And lastly, what measures has the government put in place to ensure consistent and quality provisions of services by the telecommunication providers? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Chairman, Departmental Committee on Information and Innovation, Honorable Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, the question that the member is asked, the statement is a serious statement, Honorable Speaker, because without communication, and you know, across the country, people are now transacting mobile money using communication. So we have a retreat tomorrow. It's only that the statement has just come now. We have a retreat tomorrow with the State Department of Broadcasting and Telecommunication. We'll endeavor to give them the information, but I'm promising that we'll report back to the House in the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yes. Yeah, 2 weeks.
I'm sure the Honorable Abdi Mude, are you satisfied?
Yes, satisfied.
Very well.
No.
For the second time, request by the Honorable Joshua Kutunyi. Well, member is absent, not desiring to be present. And I want chairs of committees who have come to complain that some members who have raised questions don't appear before the committees on the date when the cabinet secretaries are scheduled to appear to respond. The practice that you'll find in many jurisdictions is when a member is not present, the question, if he or she has not requested for a deferment, the question is dropped so that does not continue to appear within our records as business pending. So similarly, I want chairs of committees to adopt this practice. So don't come to report here that the questioners did not appear. Just drop the question. A very good example, this request for a statement by the Honorable Joshua Kutuni is hereby dropped and it shall not appear anywhere for the next 6 months. Yes, that is the way it should be. If you are filing a request or filing a question, if for whatever reason you are unable to be present, you can either write to request that it be deferred, or that another honorable member whom you must nominate will ask the question on your behalf or make the request on your behalf. But don't just disappear into thin air and assume that we will know that you still have intentions of either asking the question or pursuing the request. So this is the method, the style I want the chairs of committees to adopt. If you have not been requested or the request has not come from the Speaker's office or from the clerk, communicating any desire by a member that his or her question be deferred or request be deferred for whatever reason, please just drop it. It just means that the member has lost interest or the reasons for which he or she wanted to ask the question or request the statement have since been addressed in some other ways, however dubious those ways may be. I can say, no, I know the Honorable Raso, you have a different issue. Is somebody, it is not to ask that, that is finished. Honorable Gikaria, member for Nakuru Town East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I concur with the directive you've given, but also we are seeking your indulgence, Honorable Speaker. One, I am saying this with an example of the Chair, Agriculture. At one time, he appeared before the committee. Then the Cabinet Secretary of the responsible department never sent anybody to come. So we had to send away the Chair, Agriculture, and we didn't know now what to do next. Do we bring it back to the majority leader so that we can re-invite the Cabinet Secretary, or do we just deal it at the committee level to bring him back so that we can be able to answer that question that was being asked by an honourable member? Maybe I think you'll give us a direction. But secondly, Honourable Speaker, if you allow me, I had a small issue I wanted your indulgence, Honourable Speaker. I brought 3 amendments, one in CDF, another one in National Construction Authority Act, and another one in the Panel Court. Honourable Speaker, I brought these amendments in my constituency. My constituents are still being charged with some very colonial laws of loitering, immoral intent, prostitution because they're in the street. And there are those things that we wanted to be amended in the penal court. And I brought that last year, 4 months, and it expired. Secondly, the National Construction Authority does demand that for any the youth, women, and people with disability, they must get their certificates, 3 categories. And we allow them to do the 30%, but again, we put a lot of barriers to, like you must. I had also asked if they could be exempted, the special groups, or they be, upon application, be given certificates, and then they can pay once they have started working. And again, I was told that I wait, and I've never seen, I've been following with the legal department. And to date, and the last one is about the CDF. Honorable Speaker, one of the fundamental aspects of CDF is to poverty eradication. Honorable Speaker, I have trained a young man in secondary school, I've paid for his education. Once he's acquainted with some technical skills, we need to at least do something for purpose of empowerment, both to the young people and the women. But you cannot be able to fund a small project for these people to be able now to start utilizing for the reasons that we have educated them for. So again, I had brought a small amendment on matters that we should not only do security and education, can we now move to the next phase of actually actualizing the intention of the CDF, poverty eradication. I set aside 7 million to start a small leather industry and a small bookmaking. But
Honorable Gekaria,
so I know.
In as much as I could have sympathy with what you are saying.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Speaker.
You know, those are administrative matters. What you need to do is write to me indicating the dates when you made your proposals, so that then I can be able to follow it administratively. Because now you have said last year, I don't know which other year you did. I am not able to now start chasing the diaries of all those years. But I'm sure in your records, in your office, you have the letters by which you wrote your proposals, forwarding your proposals. If you wrote to me, I'll be able to demand an explanation as to the cause of the delays. It may well be that it is actually either before in the legal department or with the other committees, maybe budget and appropriations or such other committees, or the select committee on the CDF. But I am not in a position now even to entertain any discussions on that, because I think if you wrote to me, and several members have done that, I would have been able to fast track. With regard to your earlier question, if the questioner is present, and the cabinet secretary or whoever it is absent, the committee, as committee, is at liberty, in concurrence with the questioner, to set another date for the appearance of the cabinet secretary, but immediately inform the clerk, so that the clerk can also write a reminder to the said cabinet secretary or any other such functionary of government, executive. We don't want to, there's no debate on this. Honorable Sankok, there's nothing, what is there to debate? You know, there's nothing to say. You know, I'm surprised. This is not business. This is not business. Merely because somebody mentions an area in which, you know, somebody will say agriculture, another will say livestock, another one will say about goats. Then everybody will start saying, now he has mentioned goats, I want to comment. No, the other one will say, this one has mentioned flowers, I want to comment. Yet there is no motion. What is it, Honorable Sankok?
Honorable Speaker, we really like your guidance, Honorable Speaker, and directive, Honorable Speaker. And I was seeking from the chair communication, if you can give us direction on polarizing of this nation by some members who are moving from one funeral as professional mourners to hotel eating mandazis, discussing matters that can only be canvassed inside this house. Impeachment of the deputy president can only be done in this house. So, Honorable Speaker, we can give us direction if we can put that in order paper of Tuesday next week, or you can call for a special sitting in our prayers day or Friday or Sunday, so that Allah and God will be with us as we fight with Uganga na Uchawi. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Give us direction so that we don't paralyze the nation.
Honorable Sankok, I will deal with the business that is before the House. Matters which are before funeral committees or or whatever other such committees or outfits out there. Everybody knows there's freedom of speech. So people are at liberty to say this or the other. You remember not too long ago there was something which was quite fashionable. My freedom, my dress, I don't know, my something. So people are, people are at liberty to go making all manner of statements. But that's not really not business. There's something like that, each for equal, I don't know, equal for each, whatever it was. Honorable Russell.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for being magnanimous. Honorable Speaker, I rise under Standing Order number 84 to make a short personal statement. Mr. Speaker, the whole of last night and today, people have been calling me from my constituency and around the nation, those who are known to me, that there was a post on the social media that yesterday I survived a terrorist attack in Mandera. And be it known that the whole of yesterday, actually, I was in Parliament. Honorable Speaker, as a person who professes the Islamic faith and also a practicing Muslim, I condemn the activities of Al-Shabaab in Mandera and also in the whole of Northeastern. And for that reason, whatever that has appeared in the social media, I want to tell my family, my friends, and also my constituents that it is fake news and is part of the misleading social media that we continue to experience as leaders. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Last on that segment, Leader of the Majority Party. Leader of the Majority Party.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2A, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met this Tuesday at the rise of the House to give priority for business for consideration. On Tuesday next week, Mr. Speaker, we will consider a motion on the approval of the nominees to the 80 Constituency Development Fund committees. We will also consider the second reading of the following bills, should we not conclude them today: the Care and Protection of Older Members of Society Bill, the County Outdoor Advertising Control Bill. These are the Preservation of Human Dignity and Enforcement of Economic and Social Rights Bill. All those three bills are from the Senate. The Parliamentary Pension Amendment number 3 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 57 of 2019, the Impeachment Procedure Bill, which is also Senate Bill number 15 of 2018. Mr. Speaker, as members are aware, we are scheduled to proceed on a short week on Friday as per the calendar of the House. And in this regard, the House Business Committee will prioritize the Division of Revenue Bill 2020 for second reading and Committee of the whole House on Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. In addition, approval of the nominee for the appointment of the Teacher Service Commission and the Chief Executive Officer to the National Government Constituency Development Fund Board will be fast-tracked to enable their conclusion before the House proceeds for recess. We will also, Mr. Speaker, will also consider in the Committee of the whole House the Gaming Bill 2019 and the Parliamentary Pension Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2019. Mr. Speaker, the House Business Committee has also given priority to the following reports for debate next week if they are not concluded today. The Committee on Environment and Natural Resources on the inquiry into the encroachment of the riparian areas in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I wish to commend the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning, that of Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, the Committee on Lands, Communication, Information and Innovation, and delegated legislation, plus that of National Security and Administration, and indeed those other committees who have tabled their report this afternoon for a good work. The Speaker, now nearly all the bills before the House, their reports have been tabled by the respective committees, and the only ones remaining, according to the schedule given, will be tabled next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, before we go on the recess. In accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, Section 5 and 6, I wish to convey the following Cabinet Secretaries as scheduled to appear before committees next week as follows. Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Physical Planning will appear before the Committee on Lands on Tuesday, 17th March. No, on Thursday, 17th March 2020, to answer the following questions. The question from Honorable Rueda Obo, question from Honorable Gideon Keter, the Honorable Kabinga Washira, the Honorable Benjamin Mwangi, the Honorable Mary Maua, and the Honorable Catherine Waruguru. Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection will appear before the committee on the Departmental Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on Thursday, 19th March 2020, to answer the following questions. From the following members: Honorable Gideon Malyungi, Honorable Samuel Atandi, Honorable Peter Kihara, and Honorable Wilson Sosion. And lastly, the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Health will appear before the Committee on Health on Thursday, 19th March, to answer the following questions from the following members: the Honorable Halima Mucheke, the Honorable Gidua Wamushukuru, and the Honorable Rueda Obo. Honorable Speaker, the House Business Committee will reconvene on Tuesday, 17th March 2020 at the rise of the House to consider business for the following week. I now wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Thank you.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion. Reports of the Committee of the Whole House on the Business Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 80 of 2019. Question to be put in that reading.
Honourable members, before you just take a seat. You can sit anywhere. Member for Kibwezi West, what's your point of order?
Speaker, I needed your indulgence before we support the report on the business laws. There's something grave that is happening about the issuance of public licenses in this country and the selective application, and especially to members of parliament, and indeed people who are being categorized as persons, PEPs, politically exposed persons, which include all of us and our families and spouses. And there's a trend, Mr. Speaker, which has just come to my attention, that we are being shut out of the financial, financial banking system, such that banks, after we had the NYS scandal, which was reported, and the settlement which was done by the DPP, there are banks which have taken action to close out all accounts associated with anyone who's involved in politics, including their families. And the Constitution is very clear, Speaker, especially when we are giving these licenses through the various regulatory authorities, that the purpose of it is not to exclude any part of or any person in Kenya, but to include all persons. But when we are talking, and we are quickly moving to the efficiency of transacting business in Kenya, a report which is about to be adopted by this House. Speaker, when you shut out this able group of people, selectively, it amounts to having a financial holocaust, because we are being singled out one by one. And the discretion is being given to these either banks, or in the case of the honorable member who was talking about, the unavailability of services.
Honorable Musiba, you can see there are members who have completed their weeks engagement with the Parliament, and I need to sort out. I have sympathies with what you are saying, let me advise that the best way for the House to be able to express itself is if you could have a substantive motion to discuss that matter, which then would result in some resolution of the House. So that even if allow the entire House to speak, it will be just, you'll be crying to yourselves. It doesn't matter. Honorable Musimba, I'm advising you about how the House can work. So of what value? You just want bonga points to be recorded to have said something that then the House did nothing about it, because the House, there's no business before the House. Honorable Musimba, I would want to advise you to, because I know you are able to carefully study the provisions of Article 127 of the Constitution of Kenya. And Honorable Musimba, Article 127 details the functions of the Parliamentary Service Commission. I can tell you for sure it does not give any such functions as the ones you want to ascribe to it now. Honorable Musimba, there's no need of engaging there's no need of having a debate. Take your seat. Including the member for Moranga. Honorable members, Honorable Musimba, you are at liberty to remain standing. Honorable Musimba, you are out of order. Take your seat. Honorable Musimba, since you've refused to sit and continue to engage with the Speaker, I order that you leave the chamber for the balance of the day. Honorable Musimba, out. Honorable Musimba, out. We may not know part of some of these, maybe some of you are getting yourself into trouble with the banks that way. Honourable members, let me just make it absolutely clear that, as I've said, I have sympathy with the issues that the honourable member has raised, because I'm sure all of us are alive to those issues. But as a House, we cannot resolve them through a point of order. Because what is the Speaker expected to do? To issue orders in vain? The Speaker can only act on resolutions of this House, acting as a House. So please, any of you, or indeed even the Honorable Musimba, when he sobers up, he can bring a substantive motion, including this evening, and I will approve it for the House to be able to deliberate, discuss, look into all the issues that pertain to the motion. So, honour members, anyhow, that was a brief interlude. Very well. Honour members, debate on, have you called the next order? Yes. Debate on the report of the Committee of the Whole House on the Business Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 80 of 2019 was concluded yesterday in committee. What remains is for the question to be put and for third reading. I put the question that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Business Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 80 of 2019. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as a contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. Mover.
Honourable Speaker, I beg to move that the Business Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 80 of 2019, be now read a third time. I also request Honorable Washiali to second.
Honorable Washiali, Majority Whip.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second.
Honourable members, I propose the question, which is that the Business Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 80 of 2019, be now read at that time. So the desire of the House, I put the question. Having confirmed that the House has quorum, I put the question that the Business Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 80 of 2019, be now read a third time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to make amendments to the various statutes to facilitate the ease of doing business in Kenya and for connected purposes. Order number 9, report of the Committee of the Whole House on the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2019. Question to be put and third reading.
Very well. The ever mobile or migratory member for Muranga, please. Honourable members, this bill was moved by the Private Member, small bill moved by the Honourable Joyce Emanicol, and report of the Committee of the Whole House on this bill was debate was concluded yesterday also in the morning. I therefore proceed to put the question that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2019. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. Move up.
Speaker, I am not seeing Honorable Joyce Emanicol. Now, you know, I'm being forced now to do private members' bills. But because they say in my community, responsibility comes with some cost, and there are no resources that follow. Let me help the mover, my good friend Honorable Emanicol. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Kenya Institute Curriculum Development Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2019, be now read a third time. I also request Honorable Jimmy Angwenyi to second.
Angwenyi.
Mr. Speaker, I beg second.
Very well. Member for Embu, we are in the chamber. It is not done that way again, you know. Honourable members, I propose the question, which is that the Institute of Curriculum Development Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2019, be now read a third time. It's the desire of the House, I put the question. Again, having confirmed that the House corrects, I put the question that the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 33 of 2019, be now read a third time. Will as many as that opinion say aye? Aye. As many of the contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Kenya Institute Curriculum Development Act and for connected purposes. Order number 10, report of the Committee of the Whole House on the Livestock and Livestock Products Marketing Board Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2019. Question to be put in that reading.
Again, honourable members, debate on this bill. You see, you can't hide behind the pillar and assume that. Honourable members, again, this is a bill which was moved by the Honourable Bashir Abdullahi, I believe the member for Mandera North. Is that correct? Or East? North, yes, North. Major, oh yeah, retired or tired. or a combination of both. Honourable members, that's on a light note. Retired Major is an honourable gentleman. The committee concluded debate on this bill, and again, like the other two, what remains is for the question to be put and third reading. I therefore put the question that this House do agree with the report of the Committee of the Whole House on its consideration of the Livestock and Livestock Products Marketing Board Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2019. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it. Mover. Major Bashir.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I beg to move that the Livestock and Livestock Products Marketing Board Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2019, be now read a third time. I also request Honorable Adan Haji to second. Thank you.
Honorable Haji, Chairman of Agriculture Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to second. Thank you.
Honorable member for Kilifi, just where you are is okay. No, just where you are. Again, honorable members, I propose the question, which is that the Livestock and Livestock Products Marketing Board Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2019, be now read a third time. The desire of the House that I put the question. Very well. Again, having confirmed that the House still has quorum, I put the question, which is that the Livestock and Livestock Products Marketing Board Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2019, be now read a third time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say no? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to establish the Livestock and Livestock Products Marketing Board and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 11, motion. Annual report on the state of the judiciary.
Honour members, we are still in business. We are still in business. But before we go to indicate what is the position with regard to this motion, allow me to recognize the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of students from Moi High School, Kabarak, Rongai constituency, Nakuru County, and I welcome to observe the proceedings of the House this afternoon. Honourable members, according to records, the Honourable Dr. Wamalwa Kibunguchi was on the floor when time lapsed yesterday. He has a balance of 6 minutes. And honourable members, this is the debate on the report, annual report of the state of the judiciary for the periods 2016-2017 and 2017-2018, which was submitted by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. Is the Honorable Kibunguchi in the House? The member being absent, not desiring to be present, he forfeits the balance of his time. And then, honourable members, it is a desire that we conclude this business today because several of you have contributed. But I can see there is still interest, and the first person on the list is the Honorable Dr. Otiende Amolo, member of Rarieda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee for this report covering 2 years. Mr. Speaker, I think the committee has done a good job. I have read the report in its entirety, and I think it covers a number of very important things. The first, which is also